Gang, how's it going? I'm on the road in New York City, the belly of the beast, again because I am back on CNN this week. I did it last night. I have a lot of thoughts, but we'll come back to that another time because today we have a very special Friday episode of the Isabel Brown Show planned for you, one from the vault, a la Miss Taylor Swift. This time from my sweet and lovely grandparents, Clarence and Shirley Ann Cast, who we call Meemaw and Papa, who recently celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary. 70 years. We looked it up. My uncle said during the toast at the party we threw for them a few weeks ago that less than 1% of marriages in America make it to 70 years because there has to be a huge confluence of circumstances, how long you stayed together, how young you were when you got married, making sure you're both still alive at this late age. My grandmother is in her late 80s, my grandpa is in his 90s, and it is so amazing to see their love story continue to unfold and to see them continue to be each other's best friends 70 years later. So today on the show, I thought it would be really fun for you guys to get to know my Meemaw and Papa, hear me ask them questions about what it takes to survive 70 years of marriage together, learn some wisdom for marriage advice for myself and my husband. We've been married for less than 2 years, so I think we have a lot to learn if we're serious about another 68 years together, and just spend some time with my family as we get closer to the holiday season, because truly that's what the holidays are all about. So I am pining, yearning for our family's home of North Idaho, where we shot this episode a few weeks ago. Instead, I am stuck in insane, disgusting, rat-infested, and I'm not just talking about the rats, New York City. Pray for my soul. And this Friday, enjoy some time with my grandparents. And then this weekend, promise me you're gonna turn off your devices, touch grass, get outside, and hang out with your loved ones this holiday season too. Hope you guys enjoy. I am so excited for this episode of the show. I am here with my amazing grandparents, Meemaw and Papa, who actually are Shirley and Clarence. We're here because we are celebrating your 70th wedding anniversary this weekend in our beautiful hometown of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Can you first just start by introducing yourself to our community and letting us know who you are?
My name is Clarence. I'm 92 years old. I've been married to this lovely 87-year-old lady
39.
for 70 years, and I can hardly phantom that. It's something to think about, I guess. So anyway, we're here to visit with our granddaughter, who's a lovely lady, and she's going to tell us how we're going to run this program.
Yes, indeed.
But it'll be fun.
Who are you?
Well, I'm his other half, the major half, I might say. And we went on a first date in 1955, and he slapped me off a log and told me I was going to marry him. He asked me to marry him. I said, "You're crazy. I've only seen you 3 times." And he says, "Nope, you're going to marry me, and that's it." And I left and went to California. I thought, this guy's nuts. Then he wrote me letters, and I never could read them because his writing is atrocious. And so I decided I was going to go back, and my half-sister says, "Do you really love him?" I said, "I don't know." I was 17 years old. And I said, "I don't really know what love is at this point." And so I went back to Oklahoma, and my dad was there and ill, and so I spent some time there. Then we went to Nebraska, and I wanted to go. I didn't know where Nebraska was, and I heard it was cold. Oh, good God, you don't know the thing of it cold. 75 below once.
Brutal.
I didn't go out then. But anyway.
So hang on, before we go on, Papa, what's your version of that? She
didn't tell the whole story.
Yeah, I know. That's why I gotta have you
can't.
jump in. How did you meet Shirley?
I was in the military, in the Air Force at Ardmore, Oklahoma, and her little town of Ringling was about 35, 40 miles away. And I had a couple young men in the barracks with me, and this one boy was going with some girl in some little town in some distance from where we were, and he wanted to go. He was invited to a birthday party, and he wanted to go to the birthday party, but he didn't have a car, and I had a car, so he begged me for about 2 weeks to take him to that party. And I said, nah, I've been out every night. I don't want to go. So about 5 o'clock that night, things always change when you're
You're ready
young.
to
About
go.
5 o'clock at night, I decided to go. So we went. We walked into the house, and remember, this is her 17th birthday. And I looked around and I said, oh my God, what am I doing here? These are kids, But it was kind of dark in it had a big room, and it was kind of dark. And I looked back in a corner. Oh, I said, she's a little older, This might be an interesting evening after all. And it was. She had kind of a date with a local yokel. And somehow or another, I don't know how it worked out, she ended up in my car that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dated every night for a couple of weeks. And if in my case, it was almost immediately. I almost immediately knew that she was going to be my wife.
How'd you tell her that?
How did you tell me that? Mhm.
I think it was on about the fifth date. We went to a movie, and the movie was terrible. And about halfway through, I said, let's get out of here. This is boring. So and it was a beautiful moonlit night, and in the fall, and of course, nice weather. So we drove out in the country. We were driving up and down the country road, and there was a big log alongside of the road. And I said, let's just stop and go out and,
Uh-huh.
have a little discussion, of course. And during the course of the discussion, I asked her to marry me.
Can you imagine that?
5 dates in, huh?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
You know what she said? No. And it required a reaction on my part, which I never thought about. It was simply just happened. I whooped her, run her alongside of the head, knocked her off the log.
Yeah, he did. Butthole.
But at any rate, so that was it. And then she left shortly after that back to California, went back to California. But I knew that was not the end of it. And we communicated while she was gone. And lo and behold, a little over 2 weeks later, there she's back. And I said, now we got something going.
Back to our conversation with my sweet grandparents in just a second, but first have to tell you the best holiday gift you could possibly give your loved ones this season is from our friends over at Grazza. The holidays are almost, well actually they already are here, but Christmas is almost here, and way better than filling somebody's stockings with an extra pair of socks or underwear, I insist that you have to give the people that you love in your life something that is a far more meaningful gift. And there is no gift better than the gift of extra virgin olive oil. Grazza is making holiday gifting this year so much easier with their new dinner party pack, which includes a limited edition bottle of wine, a corkscrew, extra virgin olive oil potato chips, and so much more. It's basically a dinner party in a box, which is so fun and so easy this time of year when you're going over to your friends and family's house every few days to spend times with the people that you love. Grazza also has their classic duo gift sets with their drizzle and sizzle olive oil, one for eating, one for cooking, available in both squeeze bottles or glass, depending on what you're looking for. We ditched cooking with anything other than beef tallow, butter, or extra virgin olive oil a long time ago in our family's household. And the Grazza bottles that I have proudly displayed on my personal kitchen counter are not only beautiful, but taste unbelievably good. I cook with it every single day, and it has been transformational in my kitchen, knowing that I'm giving my family something that is not only safe to eat, but really, really delicious too. You guys can get 10% off your order on the Grazza site, and I personally recommend this holiday season their dinner party pack or their duo gift set that is now also available in glass bottles. So head to grazza.co and use code Isabel to get 10% off your first order. Again, one more time, that's grazza.co and use the code Isabel. So you knew at some point you had to go back.
No, I'd never seen Nebraska before.
You just were curious, wanted a free trip?
No, I paid my own.
And that eventually led to you guys getting married 70 years ago now. What was that process like? I know there were some cultural difficulties with getting married.
Very.
One of you was very, very Catholic. One of you was not. Walk us through what that experience
And he's
was
German, and I was part Indian and
Mhm.
from Oklahoma. And Cherokee, and it was different, and they looked at me different. His oldest brother, when he brought me home, he told them that he was bringing me home. Liar, liar, pants on fire, right?
Big
He
surprise
didn't
for
tell 'em.
everybody.
So anyway, his oldest brother got in the pickup and went to all the relatives. Says, "You better come home quick." Clarence brought a red-headed Indian home with him from Oklahoma. So they all came that night, the whole family. The house was full. And his mom just kept looking at me like I was, I had a ducktail haircut. Now, I'm going to a very conservative, they've been in the same way all their life.
Farm
Farm
people.
community. And I didn't know much about it, but it was just hilarious how every time I moved, they watched me. Clarence's wife, or Shirley did this, Shirley did that. And I'd go out and get the shotgun and shoot birds off the cupola on top of the barn because that was more fun than sitting in the house doing dishes.
I wonder where I got that from, ultimately.
But anyway, it was, we ended up with a wonderful marriage, and his mother was wonderful, and they welcomed me. It took them a while because they didn't know too many things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we dated 3 months, and now we've been married 70 years.
Tell us about your wedding day, Papa. What was that day like for you?
Well, the wedding was at the farm in our home, and there was no members of her family there, which was kind of bad. But I think her mother never thought she was going to get married,
No.
so they didn't come. And we fooled them.
Yeah, we fooled them.
Did it anyway.
Yeah. I'm the youngest of 9 children in the family, so when she says that my oldest brother went around the whole area, to alarm all the other members of the family that Clarence brought this red-headed Indian home, and they all showed up that night, and so that was kind of interesting. But anyway, I was the youngest, like I say, the youngest of the family, and not expected. My oldest brother was 2 months short of 20 years older than I, and so we had a very farm related family, a close family, very close family. So anyway, that's the beginning.
And one thing is, I had this Uncle Jesse who was a hillbilly from way back. And he said to me one time, he says, "Charlie, you marry that Catholic, you'll have a kid every year." Well, 9 months and 13 days, number one.
Well, that's a perfect transition then. There's kind of this cultural movement that's been happening with young people today to revive the American family. And there have been several decades in our country where it's been encouraged not to have children for young people, that it will destroy your career, it will destroy your marriage, it'll hold you back in life. And as you know, obviously we're trying to fight against that and reverse that for young people every day. You had a baby right away into your marriage, and you ended up having 5 kids over a little under 10 years, if I'm correct.
12 years.
12 years. And you followed exactly the advice that often people like Charlie Kirk are giving to young people. Get married young and have kids way sooner than you think you can, and a lot more kids than you can afford. What was that journey like for you, and would you do it all over again the same way?
Yes, I would.
We would definitely do it over, but it wasn't easy. Financially, it was very difficult. We were bankrupt at one time and wouldn't admit it. And I worked for a company, the first company I worked for after I got out of school, I worked for them for 17 years, which was probably at least 10 years too long.
Yes.
But I came from a time when people got a job with a good company and lived their whole career with that job. And that was kind of my thoughts at that time. But I stayed with that company way too long. And finally, the finances got so bad that we had to make a change. And I went from being an insurance investigator to a salesperson, which required a completely different philosophy. As an investigator, you hide yourself and you pull the other people out and get information from them. As a salesperson, you sell yourself as well as the product. So it was an interesting transfer but it worked out, and we started making money then, and things really started turning around for us.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you, Meemaw?
I worked. I had a day nursery in my house, and all these little kids, and they were fun. Oh God, I had fun. And then I worked as a waitress at night because I didn't have to pay a sitter, and he could watch the kids. And I made real good money. In fact, more than he did sometimes. And
True.
yeah. And yeah, we had lots of friends, lots of card playing, and every time something funny happened in one family, went through the other 9 real quick. And we played a lot of cards and had lots of friends. One time I was expecting number 5, Kelly, and your mother, and we were playing pinochle thing, and I was winning high, and my water broke. And I thought, good God, what am I going to do? But I was winning high, so I
Couldn't
didn't want to
stop.
win. No, I didn't stop. I went on, and the water was, coming out. And so I won high, and I backed out the door because my clothes were so wet. And then we went to the hospital, and your mom was born.
There you go.
We had so much fun with friends.
We did.
Friends make a life much more interesting. They're with you practically all the time, and you can't find anything better than that.
I feel like now people hear stories of 5 kids kind of back to back to back, and their head starts spinning, and they think, oh my gosh, I could never live in that chaotic of a house. You said it was noisy and loud and crazy all the time, but what can you tell us about the love that was there with your children and how that impacted your marriage over the years?
Our oldest son, Michael, was born with a lot of Indian traits, the silence, the don't talk, that kind of thing. And but he was an extreme inventive young man. I never knew what he was going to do. I took him to the doctor one time and asked if I should find a psychologist that treated kids. But he invented things all the time.
Building.
It plugged lamps together and watched them burn, and he was so happy. And that just went on his whole life. He never talked much because of the Indian trait, but he was extremely intelligent. And they told me in the school, Post Falls, where I worked here, and they told me he would never graduate from high school. And now Mr. Cast, Michael, has a company, enormous company. I think they go all over the world, just in the States and
he
Canada.
has a master's degree from Harvard.
Sure does.
That was hilarious.
But he wasn't the only kid. Eventually a bunch came
Right?
along. So what was that like?
The second one come, he could sell crap to a manure farmer. And so he's just in sales his whole life. And the third one is a daughter, and she became a nurse because I was ill at the time. And she was at the doctor's office with me most of the time and became interested in nursing and that. And so she became a fantastic nurse. And she's still telling me what to do. And then Tim came along, and he was the intelligent one. Everybody kept saying, man, that kid, he was in the paper all the time. One time our home burned on Halloween night of 1982. And the headlines of the paper the next day said the house at whatever the address was then burned, and it was the home of academic standout Tim Cass. It didn't say anything about us. Yeah, it didn't say anything about us, but he burned the house, But anyway, they've been well. They are accomplished. Our oldest daughter is a nurse. The second daughter is a lawyer, your mom. So yeah, it's been interesting.
And we also took, I think it was 8 other young girls into our family in Nebraska when we lived there. And that was very rewarding. It was young high school girls that went to a boarding Catholic school.
Oh, excuse me.
And from little towns around there. And a lot of their parents couldn't afford the tuition and room and board. So we invited one girl at a time to come and stay with us, and Shirley worked at nights and I worked during the day. We had 5 little kids, and we told the girls that you can live with us, but you have to be an older sister. You have to watch the children, work with the children, like an older sister, and they could go to school, so it worked out really beautiful. and there was only one girl that we had that
Excuse me.
needed a lot of work. But they were all very successful young ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, I have one of the girls that lived with us had a little girl named her Shirley Ann.
Oh, right after you. This season, you could help to change a life and actually save lives in the process. Picture a young woman who just found out that she is pregnant. She's scared, she feels helpless, she has nowhere to go. That's exactly where our friends at Preborn Ministries are meeting women exactly where they need to be met, right where they are, day in and day out. Preborn offers free ultrasounds and counseling to women facing unexpected pregnancies, which these days has never been more important, especially as the unbelievably loud propaganda from the abortion industry is telling so many millions of young women that they just can't do it. Sometimes just meeting your baby on an ultrasound and speaking to someone who empowers you instead of drags you down can make all the difference in the world between life and death. Steve Jobs, Celine Dion, Steph Curry, these were all unexpected, unplanned pregnancies. Maybe you were an unexpected or unplanned pregnancy, but life has a way of working out much differently than we ever expect. When a woman is facing the choice to choose life, Preborn Ministries is going out of their way to empower young moms to choose life wherever they possibly can. And it's really simple how we do that. When a woman meets her baby on an ultrasound, that's when everything can change. I will never forget the first time I met my daughter Isla at just 11 weeks on her first ultrasound when she was waving at me through the screen. I could hear her heartbeat, and it was so obvious to me, this is not just an abstract concept. This is my daughter, a beautiful human being worthy of defense, protection, human dignity, and life. This Christmas, spending just $28 can sponsor an ultrasound given for free to a woman who desperately needs to meet her baby today. And right now, your gift is actually doubled through a matching grant with our friends at Preborn Ministries. To donate, you can pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/Isabel. Again, that's pound 250 keyword baby, or just visit preborn.com/Isabel. Meemaw, you brought up being sick a lot when the kids were younger, and I know this was early into my mom's life. I've heard their version of the story many, many times, but early into your parenting experience, when all 5 kids had arrived, you were diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and that was a very trying time for your marriage and your family. Walk us through what that experience was like and how you navigated that together as a team.
Well, I was a traveling salesman at the time, and she spent literally months in the hospital, and she had a disease that was not curable, still is not curable, but it was also always terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, in my investigative work, I had an insurance investigation on 2 ladies at 2 different times that had lupus, and they died, of course. And when I interviewed the doctors and so forth, I found out the nature of the disease and that it was always terminal. Shirley had been sick for 2 years, and they couldn't determine what her problem was. And finally, they called us in after about 2 years, and there was 3 doctors there, and they said, "We finally found out what your problem was." Oh, God, that's good, you know. And so, what is it? And she has lupus.
Systemic lupus erythematosus.
I had just recently had that experience,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew.
But it didn't happen.
Nope.
The big fellow was there and brought me through. I was in a program of people dying, you know, where there was 10 of us.
There was a research doctor.
It was a research doctor.
We had moved to Oklahoma by that time, who was researching lupus. And so he didn't have a private practice. He was a research doctor. And so he took 10 patients that were terminal and used experimental drugs on them, and she was one. Now, of the 10, she's the only one
that survived. In fact, I went to lunch one time with a doctor that had the program, and
quite some years later.
Yeah, quite some years later, and all of a sudden he took me out to a real fancy restaurant in Louisville, Kentucky, and all of a sudden he starts crying, and the water's running down on the linen on the tablecloth, and I said, "Doc, what the hell's wrong with you?" and he says, "I can't believe it. I'm looking at you. I touched you. You're alive." I said, "What the heck did you expect?" And he said, "You would never live."
Yeah.
And he cried on that linen. It got soaking wet So anyway,
Well, it's interesting because back then, nowadays when you're diagnosed with lupus or really any autoimmune disease, it's quite manageable.
Yeah.
It's just a lot about lifestyle and
Yeah.
diet and how you take care of yourselves. But back then, they actually told you had, what,
Oh, yeah.
3 months to live and
Yeah.
get in the bed and that's going to be
Yeah.
it. How did your faith together play a component in how you walked through that journey?
that was the biggest part of of my survival and our marriage and everything is the gift of faith and following the big fella. I call him the big fella because he directs everything. And I can say that played a huge part of my survival, of our marriage, of everything that we've had, is that I know that he's there. He answers my prayers. And, you just live a good life, love people, and just really live life to the fullest, the way it's supposed to be. And I was so fortunate because the other 9 died, and I lived. But there a lot of guilt comes with that too. And but I got over it with Dr. Lindemann's help. And
Shirley has a unique gift. She hears the voice. We call it the voice. And I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's God himself. I don't know if it's an angel, but we are directed by the voice.
we've moved at the commands of the voice,
And we listen.
and we listen, and it's never been wrong. One time we had just moved into a house, and he said, "It's time for you to move." Where? Where am I supposed to? Are we supposed to go? Well, he didn't say where. He just said it's time to move. So we sold our house in 2 days, and where in the hell are we going? You know. And finally, you got a job offer with the Long Mile River Company.
Those things just happen.
They
All
just
the
happen.
time.
They
Constantly.
just believe. And I can say to every one of you who are looking, if you want a good friend that's going to guide you through life, look to the big fella.
Interestingly, marriage this is our 70th year, Marriage is not between two people. It's the man, the woman, and God. So if you allow him to lead you, it'll be great.
There's no telling where you might go.
Yeah.
70 years into this, I'm curious, can you explain how your feelings for each other may have changed through different seasons? And how does love look different with every passing year in marriage?
Well, there was a time when we were under so much stress that our marriage was stressed as well.
Yeah.
But in fact, she went through the tunnel twice and was dead twice, saw the bright light. How did that, what was the question again?
How your love has changed over different phases of your marriage.
Kind of
And
like we are matured. It's different, obviously, but it's more respect now, I would think.
Yeah.
Would you agree? And we know each other so well, we can guarantee what he's going to do or she's going to do the next day.
We live in an assisted living community of old people in St. George, Utah. And the people in the dining room, every time we go down to eat, they start laughing. What are you two going to do today? What are you two going to do?
We try to have a lot of fun, and we do.
yeah.
And people realize that, and they start laughing and having fun. Life is a gift. Use it. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
But we've had many other trials in our life, sicknesses and stuff like that, and the children. But they all turned out okay, and we're proud of them. And even proud of Curly here.
I hope so.
We are very proud.
One more quick break before we get back to learning from my very sweet grandparents to send you a message from our friends at the University of Austin in Texas. You guys know better than anybody, all of our truth seekers gang out there, that the education system in this country is fundamentally broken. We have activist professors, insane seminars that honestly just feel like propaganda struggle sessions, $80,000 a year to attend the Harvards of the world, which really have become the Hamas indoctrination camps of the world. So we have to start asking ourselves, what is the alternative? There is a new university in Texas that is doing the opposite of everything our broken education system is doing, and that's the University of Austin, Texas, or UATX. Here's what really sets UATX apart and what's so attractive to it instead of attending the University of Chicago's or Columbia's of the world. At UATX, students are in small seminars taught by amazing professors. They are learning the classics and the great books of Western civilization. They're building actual companies while on campus with real mentorship from some of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. You can be openly Christian or Jewish without any apology whatsoever. And when you walk into the main atrium at UATX, there is a giant American flag. UATX is admitting students solely based on test scores, so there's no DEI, no woke crap in making sure you are the right student for their programs, and their application takes only a few minutes. Oh, and another pretty important thing, tuition is completely free forever. It's funded by American patriots who just want to create the Navy SEALs of American education, and I'm all excited about that. To apply to attend the University of Austin, you can visit uaustin.org. That's UAUSTIN.org.
And we're happy. We're happy with our relationship. We're happy with our God. We're happy with our church. We're just happy.
Yeah.
We're not happy with our restricted activities,
Yeah.
physical activities.
Totally.
Not-
This really ticks me off. You want to do so much and that old body says,
I love hearing that from you, though, because there's this expectation, I think, that you'll grow bored of your other half, or you won't be romantically in love with each other anymore, and eventually you just have the same day over and over again, and life's not interesting anymore. But you're telling me the opposite. That
it's
life's
well,
fun
life
together.
is always interesting because you never know what's going to happen the next day. You just got to roll with it and enjoy it. That's the important thing, I think. But and we do. We have fun. We really do.
yeah, we do. She knows some weird things.
You guys were at my wedding a little over a year ago, so I'm in my second year of marriage now.
Oh, jeez.
And it's been an absolutely amazing adventure and the best love story God ever could have given to me. And I love sharing that with people in my community. But for those that are still discerning marriage, or they're considering getting married to someone they love, or maybe they're like me in their first few years of marriage, what advice do you have for how to stick it out all the way through to 70 years?
Well, I think a lot of young people put off marriage because they're not financially in shape to get married or to buy a home and have children and all that. That's foolishness. You when you're in love, you get married, and then you work together, work these things out together. So
Yeah.
my advice would be, if anyone were to ask, don't put it off. If you're in love and you agree with your partner, you should get married. And you should have children, if you can.
Yeah. As you know, we've got some.
You followed that advice
Yeah.
pretty well. What about you, Meemaw? What would you say?
I would say enjoy your children. I was the youngest of 5 kids and the only girl. And so I was a real tomboy and loved horses and all that kind of stuff. And I still do. But anyway, just enjoy your children. And we had so many illnesses with our children because of different genes that produce it. But we were able to get through it all. And they've all turned out okay. We're happy with them. We're happy with I love our grandchildren. They're more fun than
And greats.
And great. Tell
grandchildren.
us how many you have of each.
We had 14 grandchildren, 2 of which died at birth. And the other 12 are alive. And we have 8 great-grandchildren.
My goodness. What a blessing. What a legacy.
And now we're going on with yours.
Yep, yes, indeed. When you go through those challenging chapters together, whether it's illness or a financial struggle and moving, how do you suggest that young people band together and become a good team with their spouse and with God to navigate those difficult times?
Prayer.
Prayer works wonders. People don't believe in it, but it's unbelievable what prayer can do.
Yeah.
And
Listen to the Lord.
yeah, and sometimes it's hard, and you don't like what he's got to say, but you listen and you go forward, and that's been our mantra our whole life. And I was born and raised without any religion except my grandmother, who was the most fabulous teacher of the Bible that you could ever hear. And she carried a Bible with her everywhere she went. And I'd go to visit her, and she'd say, "Okay, let's read this part," you know. So we would read it. She'd come by and get me and say, "Shirley, let's go to town." And she had her apron off, so I knew she had a goal in mind. When she had her apron off, she was going to do something. And so she'd take my hand and, and Bible in this hand and me in this hand, and would head to town. And she'd stop at all the merchants. "Okay, somebody lost their home. Gather your finances together. We're going to get them back on their feet." And she just we went to all the stores. And heard one guy one time. We were about half a block from him, and he was talking real loud to another guy. And he says, "Oh God, there comes Fran. Somebody's in trouble. Open your pocketbook."
True.
It was a little town in Oklahoma. But other than that, we've had a great life, really.
Yeah.
Very gifted. I remember one time I was real sick in the hospital in Oklahoma, and this intern that they had was taking me from one lab to another or something, and I fainted in the thing. And he slaps my face. "Wake up, Miss Cass. Wake up, Miss Cass. I got to tell you something before you die. Wake up, Mrs. Cass. That husband of yours, he's a mean man." He took that nurse, he threw her into the window, and he's a mean man.
Not true.
It wasn't true, but he was going to let me know before I died.
No, but she was dying one night in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and I asked the nurse 4 times to get the doctor, and she never would do it. And I finally pushed her against the wall and put my nose about close to hers. And I says, "You're
And
going to get me
words-
the doctor and going to do it now." That's
Word spread around that hospital.
where that came from.
He's a mean man.
Always fighting for each other and fighting for your family
Yeah.
and marriage.
One
Yeah.
time they had a code blue, woman missing from X-ray.
Well, she'd been in the hospital for 2 months. It was time to tour the hospital, so we took a little tour.
Oh, you two and your adventures always crack me up. All right, I got a couple more questions for you, and then
Okay.
we'll
All right.
wrap up. Do you have hope for our country, seeing this resurgence of young people re-embracing marriage and family, and how has seeing the change of our culture been over the last several decades?
I'm optimistic. I think things are really changing for the better. A lot of people don't agree with that, obviously, but that's my opinion. And I see a lot of good things happening. Yeah, I really do. And I'm very optimistic about it, especially with the young people, because they're going to lead us in that direction.
And I think Charlie Kirk was in God's plan to come and bring the youth and move them like he's moving them. I just get really excited when I see that. He was a gift from God, and he was taken way too soon because he could have done wondrous things. But
He
what
still is.
Yeah, he still is.
Yes,
And
it
it's
is.
going to continue on, praise God. And people don't seem to realize, they think if you mention God that you're some kind of nut. Well, I got news for them. I'll take the nut.
And as we close out today, I want to give you two a chance to talk directly to each other. After 70 years, is there anything you want to say to your spouse about what's next in your marriage?
Well, the issue now, we have to really work as a team to overcome the deficits as human, the physical deficits. And the thing that worries me the most is for both of us, we're kind of losing our ability for memory. We're especially words. I hate it when I can't think of words that I've used all my life, So we communicate other ways. But we're both suffering from that.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's life, you have to realize he's 92 and I'm 87. We still got a long time ahead of us. And you just got to get out there and do things and get involved and just, be
Especially
happy.
people. We enjoy people and we stay communicating. We stay with people. We stay at the place we're staying. We have community food, of course, and we go to dinner. And there's varies in Sundays people there that want to sit at our table. It seems
Because
like
you're the fun ones,
Yeah.
obviously.
we are, and we tell stories, and they enjoy that, and tease each other.
Yeah.
We have
That's the fun part. It really is.
Yeah. We have a little Greek lady that is there in our area, and she's 93, isn't it? Or 100?
No, she's 95.
95. And she was a dentist in Greece. And her name is Litka. And we have more fun with her. She pushes people aside to come and sit at our table. It's really funny. And we laugh. Oh, she just sits there and she just
Oh, she has a deep laugh. Yeah.
Well, laughing and telling stories is what it is all about,
Yeah.
truly. And I'm
Yes.
so grateful that you guys were able to come laugh and tell some stories to us today.
Well,
Thank you for
Thank-
everything.
We're just
Thank
sorry
you
that
for inviting us.
Yeah,
course.
And we're sorry that you're not closer.
I know. Someday
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
I
And
promise.
we're very proud of you.
Thank
Very
you.
proud.
Yes. Of all the accomplishments of our grandchildren, we're very pleased and happy.
Well, I love you very much. Happy 70th wedding anniversary. That is such a rarity to be able to say these days. And may there be many more years of laughter and adventure and telling good stories together.
And God.
And God. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll help you along the way.
Always does.
All of this is an illusion, an echo of a voice that has died. And soon that echo will cease.
They say that Merlin is mad. They say he was a king in Dyfed, the son of a princess of lost Atlantis. They say the future and the past are known to him, that the fire and the wind tell him their secrets, that the magic of the hill folk and druids come forth at his easy command. They say he slew hundreds, do you hear? That the world burned and trembled at his wrath.
The Merlin died long before you and I were born.
Merlin Emrys has returned to the land of the living.
Vortigern is gone. Rome is gone. The Saxon is here.
Saxon Hengist has assembled the greatest war host ever seen in the Island of the Mighty. And before the summer is through, he means to take the throne. And he will have it. If we are too busy squabbling amongst ourselves to take up arms against him. Here is your hope. A king will arise to hold all Britain in his hand. A high king who will be the wonder of the world.
You to a future of peace.
There'll be no peace in these lands till we are all dust.
Men of the Island of the Mighty, you stand together. You stand as Britons. You stand as one.
Great darkness is falling upon this land. These brothers are our only hope to stand against it.
Not our only hope.
They say Merlin slew 70 men with his own hands. At Cathay, he slew 500.
No man is capable of such a thing.
The mortal man.